The intercom buzzed at exactly 7:43 p.m. on a Tuesday that started like any other. I was in my home theater, reviewing contracts for my latest property acquisition in Atlanta, when my security system lit up. Two figures stood at my gate, surrounded by luggage. I leaned forward, squinting at the screen. My coffee mug slipped from my hand, shattering across imported marble tile. It was Crystal, my ex-wife. Standing beside her was Philip, the man she'd left me for 5 years ago. The man who'd been my business partner. The man who'd taken everything. I pressed the intercom button, my finger trembling. "What do you want?" Crystal's voice crackled through, that same honey-smooth tone that once promised forever. "Donnell, please. We need to talk. It's an emergency." Philip leaned into the camera, his expensive suit looking rumpled, defeated. "Man, I know you got every right to tell us to go straight to hell, but we literally got nowhere else to turn." I stared at the screen, memories flooding back like a dam breaking. 5 years ago, I'd been sleeping in my 2001 Honda Civic, parked behind a Waffle House off I-85. Crystal had taken the house, the savings, everything we'd built together. She'd stood in divorce court, her hand in Philip's, and told the judge I was financially irresponsible and going nowhere in life. Now they were at my gate. At the $12 million estate I'd built from nothing. The universe has a sick sense of humor. "Emergency," I said slowly. "Y'all got an emergency." "Please, Donnell," Crystal's voice broke. "Just 5 minutes. That's all we're asking." I should have ended the call right there. Should have blocked them and poured myself another drink. But something in me, maybe curiosity, maybe that stubborn piece that never fully healed, needed to hear this. I buzzed them through, watching on camera as they gathered their suitcases and walked up my quarter-mile driveway. By the time they reached my front door, I was standing there, arms crossed. Crystal looked older, tired. Designer clothes that probably cost thousands couldn't hide the defeat in her eyes. Philip wouldn't even look at me directly. "Nice place," Philip muttered, staring at the fountain centerpiece in my circular driveway. "Cut the small talk," I said. "You got 3 minutes now. Talk." Crystal stepped forward. "Donnell, I know we don't deserve anything from you. I know what we did was unforgivable." "Yeah, it was." I felt my jaw tighten. "Y'all stood in court and painted me like I was some deadbeat. Had me paying alimony while I was homeless. So tell me what emergency brings you to my doorstep with luggage." Philip finally met my eyes. "The feds seized everything. The business, the house, our accounts. Everything's frozen. We're facing indictment for wire fraud and tax evasion." I laughed. Actually laughed. "The business? You mean my business? The one you stole from me?" "We didn't steal," Crystal started. "Don't." My voice dropped to ice. "Don't you dare rewrite history at my doorstep. I built Kingston Properties from nothing. You took it in the divorce. Him too." The night air felt thick, charged with 5 years of buried rage. I remembered sitting in my car that first night after the divorce, scrolling through Facebook photos of them celebrating at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. My steakhouse. Our anniversary spot. They'd posted it the same day I'd eaten dollar menu chicken nuggets for dinner. "We made mistakes," Philip said quietly. "But man, we're desperate. We got nowhere to go. Hotels won't take us. Credit cards are frozen. Family won't answer our calls. We thought maybe." "You thought what?" I interrupted. "That I'd forgotten? That we're all good now because you're in trouble?" Crystal's eyes were wet. Real tears or performance? I couldn't tell anymore. I never stopped feeling guilty about what we did to you. Every success we had felt hollow because we knew the truth. We knew you deserved better. Guilt didn't stop you from living in my house though, did it? Didn't stop you from driving my Mercedes or vacationing in Turks and Caicos with my money. The words tasted bitter. Guilt's real cheap when you're comfortable. We were wrong. Crystal's voice cracked. We were selfish and terrible and I hate myself for it. But Donnell, we're standing here with nothing. Just like you were. We're begging for mercy we don't deserve. I looked at them both, really looked. Philip's hands were shaking. Crystal had lost weight, her face gaunt. These weren't the triumphant backstabbers from my nightmares. These were broken people. And I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No pity. Just empty. How'd you even find me? I asked, leaning against my doorframe. Philip shifted uncomfortably. We've been following your success. Tech journals, business magazines. Donnell Hayes, the comeback king. Built DH Innovations from nothing. Revolutionized sustainable housing development. You're worth what now? 50 million. 63, actually. I said it flatly, watching their faces. But who's counting? Crystal winced. We saw the Forbes article last month. The one about you donating 2 million to homeless shelters across Georgia. That's when I told Philip we made the worst mistake of our lives. Little late for epiphanies. I pulled out my phone, scrolling. You'll remember Billy? My cousin who let me shower at his place during the divorce. Yeah, Philip said cautiously. He sent me something interesting last week. I turned the screen toward them. It was a screenshot from 3 years ago, Crystal's Instagram story. A photo of champagne glasses with the caption, "When you upgrade everything in life." #blessed and thriving #no regrets. The hashtag hung in the air like smoke. Crystal covered her mouth. Donnell, I wasn't thinking. Oh, you were thinking just fine. My voice stayed calm, controlled. You were thinking about how good life was without me dragging you down. How much better Philip was. How I was your biggest mistake. That's not. I saw every post, Crystal. Every vacation photo. Every humble brag about the business I started. You know what hurt most? Neither of them answered. Good. They needed to hear this. What hurt most was you didn't just leave me. You erased me. Told everybody I was the problem. Your friends, our old neighbors, business contacts, they all thought I was some failure you finally escaped from. You rewrote our whole story. Philip cleared his throat. The business contacts. Man, I need to tell you something about that. Save it, I said. I know you told clients I was embezzling. That I was unreliable. That you had to buy me out to save the company. I smiled without humor. Except that's not what happened, is it? You forged my signature on those buyout papers. Had your lawyer friend rush the divorce settlement before I could get proper representation. Crystal's face went pale. How do you? No. I've known for 4 years. Hired a forensic accountant after I got on my feet. He found everything. The forged documents, the offshore accounts, the shell companies. I've been sitting on enough evidence to put both of you away for 20 years. Philip stumbled backward. Then why didn't you? Because I wanted to watch. The words came out cold. Wanted to see if karma was real. Wanted to watch you'll destroy yourselves without me lifting a finger. The silence stretched. Somewhere in my estate, a clock chimed 8 p.m. And here you are, I continued. Standing at my gate with suitcases and federal charges. Turns out karma's got perfect timing. Crystal's tears were flowing freely now. So you're just going to turn us away? Let us sleep on the street? The question hung there, heavy and loaded. Part of me, the part that remembered sleeping in my car through Georgia summers, windows cracked for air, sweating through my only interview shirt, wanted to slam the door in their faces. Wanted them to feel every bit of that helplessness. But I thought about Billy. About how he'd given me his couch when everyone else disappeared. About Mrs. Chester, the elderly restaurant owner who'd given me free meals and asked no questions. About Pastor Williams, who'd let me use the church address for job applications. People had shown me mercy when I deserved nothing. There's a Motel 6 about 15 miles south, I said finally. I'll call ahead, pay for a week. That gives you time to figure things out. A week. Philip's voice rose. Man, we're talking years of legal battles. Lawyers we can't afford. You need a reality check. I stepped forward. You want to know what I needed 5 years ago? My wife. My best friend. My business. I needed to not be betrayed by the two people I trusted most in this world. We don't always get what we need. Crystal grabbed my arm. Donnell, please. There's more you don't know. The feds, they're saying we defrauded clients out of millions. If we go to prison. Then you go to prison. I pulled away gently but firmly. I'm offering you a motel because despite everything, I'm not the person you turned me into. I'm not cruel. But I'm also not your salvation. We could work for you. Philip blurted out. Both of us. We know real estate, we know. I laughed, sharp and bitter. Work for me? You serious right now? Dead serious. Philip's desperation was palpable. Look, I know it sounds crazy, but we're good at what we do. The business was thriving before the investigation. We could help with your developments, project management, whatever you need. The business was built on fraud, I said. On my stolen ideas and forged signatures. That's not talent, Philip. That's crime. Crystal stepped between us. He's right that we're skilled. Wrong about everything else, but right about that. Donnell, we expanded Kingston Properties into 6 states. Revenue went from 3 million to 28 million in 4 years. Using my foundation, I countered. My relationships, my reputation. All you did was add fraud to the mix. Some of it was legitimate growth, she insisted. The Austin development, the Tampa project, those were solid. We weren't always stealing. I stared at her. You really think that makes it better? That you only partially destroyed me? A car pulled up behind them, my head of security, James, in the Range Rover. He stepped out, 6'4" of quiet intimidation. Everything good, Mr. Hayes? James asked, hand near his hip where I knew he carried. We're fine, I said. They're just leaving. Wait. Crystal's voice cracked with panic. Donnell, there's something else. Something I should have told you years ago. My stomach tightened. What? She looked at Philip, then back to me. Her hands were shaking. The night before I filed for divorce. Philip and I, we didn't just decide to be together. We planned it. For months. The words hit like a physical blow. I'd suspected, sure. But hearing it confirmed, hearing the premeditation. We met with lawyers, she continued, voice barely above a whisper. Figured out how to maximize what I'd get in the divorce. Timed it for when the business was doing well so I could claim half. Philip fed me information about company finances. We coordinated everything. Philip looked sick. Man, I wanted to tell you so many times. Shut up, I said quietly. Let her finish. Crystal wiped her eyes. We manufactured problems in our marriage. I picked fights about nothing. Made you think you were failing as a husband. Made you doubt yourself so you wouldn't fight the divorce too hard. I felt my knees weaken. Leaned harder against the doorframe. Why are you telling me this now? Because you deserve the truth. Because I'm tired of carrying it. She sobbed. Because maybe if you know how completely awful we are, you'll understand why we're here. Why karma's hitting us this hard. James moved closer to me. Boss, you want me to? No. I held up a hand. I want to hear all of it. Every detail. Philip exhaled shakily. The business contacts you mentioned? We didn't just badmouth you. We actively sabotaged your reputation. Called potential clients. Told them you were unstable. Unreliable. A liability. We made sure doors closed before you could even knock. There's more, Crystal added. Your investor meeting with Patterson Holdings? The one that fell through right after the divorce. The $15 million deal, I said numbly. They ghosted me. We told them you were under investigation for fraud. The world tilted. That deal would have changed everything. Would have kept me from living in my car, from eating one meal a day, from showering at truck stops. I almost died, I heard myself say. Did you know that? Week 3 of being homeless, I got pneumonia. Couldn't afford a doctor. Fever got so high I hallucinated. If Billy hadn't found me. Crystal's face crumpled. Donnell. I wanted to die, I continued, the words pouring out now. Sat in that car with a bottle of pills I'd saved up, thinking nobody would miss me. Thinking I'd failed at everything. At business, at marriage, at being a man worth loving. Stop, Philip begged. Please stop. Why? You didn't stop. You didn't stop taking and destroying. My voice rose. You took my company, my money, my home, my reputation. You took my will to live and you celebrated it. No regrets, remember? James stepped closer, concerned. Mr. Hayes. I'm fine. I wasn't fine. My hands were shaking. You want to know why I didn't turn in that evidence? It wasn't about karma. It was because nothing I could do to you would equal what you did to me. Prison's finite. What y'all did. That's forever. Crystal collapsed onto my steps, sobbing. We're sorry. God, we're so sorry. Sorry means nothing. I looked down at her. Sorry is what you say when you bump into someone. When you're late for dinner. Sorry doesn't cover systematic destruction of another human being. Philip's voice cracked. Then what do we do? How do we make this right? You can't. The finality of those words seemed to break something in Philip. He sat down next to Crystal, head in his hands. We knew this would catch up to us. The fraud, I mean. Started small, fudging numbers, inflating property values. Then it got bigger. Easier. We told ourselves we deserved it after working so hard. Working hard. I laughed bitterly. You know what hard work is? Hard work is coding software in your car because you can't afford office space. It's pitching investors while wearing shoes with holes in them. It's building something from nothing while everyone who claimed to love you watches you struggle and does nothing. You're right. Crystal looked up, mascara streaked. You're absolutely right. We don't deserve mercy. We don't deserve kindness. We deserve everything coming to us. Damn straight, I said. But I need you to know something. She stood up slowly. Every night for 5 years, I've dreamed about you. About us. About the man I destroyed. Not a single day went by when I didn't regret it. Regret isn't repentance, I countered. Regret is feeling bad about consequences. You regret getting caught, not what you did. No. Her voice was firm now. I regret all of it. The first time Philip and I kissed, I knew it was wrong. When we planned the divorce strategy, I knew. When I lied in court, I knew. I knew every single step and I did it anyway because I was selfish and weak and terrible. Philip stood too. The company we built on your foundation? It never felt right. Every success felt hollow. Every client we landed felt like stolen valor. We tried to convince ourselves we'd earned it, but we knew the truth. So you suffered in your mansion? I asked. Cried in your Mercedes? Felt guilty on your European vacations? Forgive me if I don't feel sympathetic. We're not asking for sympathy, Philip said. We're asking for a chance. One chance to show we're more than the worst things we've done. I thought about that. About redemption and grace and all those Sunday school lessons Pastor Williams used to preach. About how I'd been given chances when I didn't deserve them. But there was a difference. I hadn't betrayed anyone. Hadn't planned someone's destruction. Here's what I'll do, I said finally. I'll pay for that motel for 2 weeks, not 1. I'll give you contact information for a lawyer who handles federal cases, a good one. And I'll write you both a check for $5,000. Their faces lit up with hope. But, I continued, you're never contacting me again. No calls, no emails, no showing up at my gate. This is me releasing you from my life completely. Taking the high road not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. Donnell, Crystal reached for me. I stepped back. Also, I'm turning over that evidence to the feds tomorrow. Everything my forensic accountant found. You'll probably face additional charges. The hope died in their eyes. Wait, Philip stammered. You just said. I said I'd help you tonight. I didn't say I'd cover for your crimes. See, helping you and protecting you are different things. I can show you mercy while still demanding justice. That's not mercy, Crystal whispered. That's revenge. No, I corrected. Revenge would be gloating. This is accountability. James escorted them to the motel, following my instructions to pay for 2 weeks and deliver the check. I watched their taillights disappear down my driveway, then walked back inside. My house felt enormous and empty. I poured myself whiskey, 30-year-old Macallan I'd bought to celebrate my first million, and stood on my balcony overlooking Atlanta's skyline. Somewhere out there, Crystal and Philip were processing their new reality. Tomorrow, federal prosecutors would have enough evidence to add years to their sentences. I should have felt victorious. I didn't. My phone buzzed. Billy. Heard through the grapevine your ex showed up. You good? Yeah, I typed back. I'm good. But was I? 5 years of building an empire, proving everyone wrong, becoming the success story everyone admired, and what did it mean? I'd won. They'd lost. So why did I feel hollow? Because revenge, I realized, is a feast that leaves you starving. The next morning, I sat in my lawyer's office with the evidence files. Michelle Chester, daughter of the Mrs. Chester who'd fed me during my homeless days, looked through everything carefully. This is damning, she said. Federal prosecutors will love you. But Donnell, are you sure? Once you turn this over, there's no taking it back. I'm sure. I wasn't, but I said it anyway. They'll go to prison. Probably 5 to 10 years minimum with this level of fraud. I know. Michelle studied my face. You don't look like someone who's won. Maybe because winning was supposed to feel different, I admitted. I thought justice would feel satisfying. 3 months later, I sat in a federal courtroom watching Crystal and Philip plead guilty to wire fraud, tax evasion, and forgery. The judge sentenced them to 8 years each. As marshals led them away in handcuffs, Crystal looked back at me one last time. I didn't smile. Didn't gloat. Just nodded. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Mr. Hayes, how does it feel to see justice served? It feels necessary, I said carefully. But not celebratory. Nobody wins when people destroy themselves. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what Crystal had said about regret. About Philip's broken voice admitting they knew it was wrong. About how satisfying their downfall should have felt, and how empty it actually was. I called Billy. You ever think about the cost of revenge? What brought this on? They got 8 years. I got my justice. I got everything I wanted. I paused. So why do I feel worse? Because, Billy said slowly, revenge is about them. Healing is about you. You've been so focused on them getting what they deserve, you forgot to deal with your own pain. He was right. I'd spent 5 years building an empire to prove them wrong instead of healing what they'd broken. Success was my revenge, but it wasn't my peace. The next morning, I established the Second Chances Foundation, $15 million dedicated to helping people recover from divorce, homelessness, and financial devastation. Not to honor Crystal and Philip, but to honor Mrs. Chester, Billy, Pastor Williams. The people who'd shown me mercy. If you believe everyone deserves accountability but also the chance to rebuild, hit subscribe. Only manipulators and backstabbers won't. Comment justice and grace if you're not siding with betrayers like Crystal and Philip. Because everyone deserves respect, even when demanding consequences. Real strength isn't crushing your enemies. It's healing yourself and helping others rise. That's the empire worth building. And that's how I finally won.